Hi, this is Mrs. Arndt. I'm going to show you how to make my favorite chocolate chip recipe, which is the Nestle Toll House recipe on the back of the chocolate chip bag. But I've got it written here so you can use that as well. I like to have all my ingredients out, so that's what I've done. I've got everything set out. I'm going to just start by doing my dry ingredients first. Alright, we need all-purpose flour. We need a 2 1/4 cup. So 2 1/4 cup. So here's my 1 cup measure. I'm going to measure out my first cup. Now we use a flat surface to get the top of it flat. I'm going to add that to a separate bowl that I have. So here's 1 cup. And I'm going to get my second cup. Doing the same thing. I dip my cup in. And then I'm going to level it off using my flat edge. All right, and put my second cup in my bowl. And then I need my 1/4 cup. Here's my 1/4 cup measure. Okay, so I've got all my flour in the bowl. Put that aside. Okay, the next dry ingredient we need is a teaspoon of baking soda. So baking soda, not baking powder. There's 2 different things. So I'm going to do my teaspoon. There is an edge of flap on the box. You just scrape that on there like that, and that levels that one off. Okay, that goes into the bowl, same bowl. And then the next dry ingredient that you need is a teaspoon of salt. So same measuring spoon, 1 teaspoon, and a teaspoon of salt, and I kind of just shake that until I get it just about right level. That goes in the same bowl. That's just regular old table salt, nothing special. All right, so I'm going to keep this and I'm going to mix it up just with my spoon, just so that all the dried ingredients get mixed together. It's just the 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. All right, I'm going to set that aside. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my softened butter out. Now, you need to make sure your butter is soft but not melted. If it's melted, then your cookies are going to run and become completely flat. So you just want them a little bit squishy. I don't know if you can see that because they're a little bit squishy, but not completely melted. Keep them at room temperature for a little bit. I actually put mine outside for about 5 minutes. It's pretty warm out here, so it didn't take very long. I'm just scraping off some of that butter and putting it in my bowl. Okay, I have a stand mixer. I don't know if you can see that. I have my KitchenAid mixer here. All right, I love to use this. I use the paddle attachment, which is this one. If you don't have this, you can beat it with a wooden spoon. You can use just about anything to beat your butter together. But I use the KitchenAid. I've had this for many years. This is my favorite. Okay, so I put the 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup. 1 cup is 2 sticks of butter. Okay, I'm going to put that in the bowl. Next, I need 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Brown sugar has to be packed full. Now, it calls for 3/4 cup. I have a 3/4 cup measuring cup. It's slightly smaller than my 1 cup. But if you don't have that, to get to 3/4, you add 1/2 cup to 1/4 cup. So I'm going to do it this way because most people don't have the 3/4 cup. So you need your 1/2 cup measure and your 1/4 cup measure. All right, now this is my trick for brown sugar. I cut the bag wide open. I'm going to stick my whole cup in there. Okay, I'm going to fill it up with the sugar, but before I take it out, I'm going to press down inside the bag, press down and make sure that I have a level measure on my cup. Okay, now it's level and it's pressed. I'm going to add that to my bowl. That was my 1/2 measure. Now I'm going to use my 1/4 cup measure. And again, I stick it in the bag. Before taking it out of the bag, I press down. I need a little bit more. Press down. And yet, wait, your hands don't get sticky, but you're able to get the full-on pressed for your brown sugar. All right, now we need 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. So regular granulated sugar. All right, I keep that in a canister. I'm going to do the same thing. I need a 1/2 cup. So I'm going to put that in the same measurement, scoop it out. Again, you want a smooth edge, so I just use the top of the scoop. Smooth edge, add that to your mixer bowl. That's 1/2 cup plus the 1/4 cup gives you 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar. Okay, there we go. Set that aside. All right, now I'm going to beat this for a little bit. I wanted to cream them together, so I'm going to turn it on slowly at first until it gets mixed up a little. Then I'm going to turn it up. I want to beat it a little bit until all that butter gets mashed up and the sugar gets blended with it. All right, see how that's kind of coming together and creamy nice? All right, I think that's good. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay, now I'm going to add the eggs. I need 2 eggs. 2 eggs, okay? Big eggs are better, but these are the only ones I have, so they're small. All right, I like to crack my eggs into anything, a little bowl, anything. This is a liquid measuring cup. I like to crack them in first because if you get shell, then you can get them out first and before putting them into your mixture. So I'm gonna crack my egg into my mixing cup and check to make sure there's no shell in there. There is not. So I'm gonna crack my egg again. Get it. And crack it right into that bowl. Double check, make sure there's no shell. There is not. So I'm going to add them. I'm going to turn my mixer back on. And I'm going to add my egg. 1, beat it up. And then the other one. And beat it up. Okay, so this makes your mixture quite a bit soupier. All right, good. And make sure it's all blended together. I'm going to leave it on. And I need that same teaspoon, same one we used for salt and the baking soda, and I'm going to use my vanilla. I use Mexican vanilla just because it's easy for me to get. All right, so I'm going to do a teaspoon. Now I'm going to do that over my egg thing just in case I splash it or get too much. You don't usually want to add it over your bowl because if you mess up, then you got too much vanilla. See, that's what I did. So I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to add that in and mix it up. Make sure it gets incorporated really well. All right, and put that aside. Okay, now once your vanilla, your egg, your butter, and your sugar are all creamed, it's time to add your dry ingredients. Now remember, we added those to a bowl a little while ago. So we're going to do that. I'm going to add those in. Okay, so I'm going to keep it on low. And I'm going to gradually add my flour. Mixing it slowly. If you go too high, whoops. If you go too high, the flour will go everywhere. Alright, so let's get that in there. Okay, so now as I'm mixing my flour in there, you see, there we go. Turn it up just a little bit now that it's all in there. Okay. Alright, I'm going to turn that off. I forgot to tell you to preheat your oven. So you should have done that already. The oven needed to be preheated to 375. And guess what? I forgot to preheat my oven. So I'm going to go over here and do that. All right. So I'm going to put it on bake. 375. There we go. So my oven is now at 375. All right. So once your flour is in and your dry mixture is in, I like to scrape my bowl down. Make sure I get all the sides scraped in. I'm going to get all that flour in. You don't want to have a huge clump of flour or area of flour that's not mixed in. Okay, so now once your flour's all mixed in and everything, now it's time to add your chocolate chips. So, like I said, you can use any kind of chocolate chips. Some people like to use M&Ms. Some people like to use the dark chocolate chips. I like to use Nestle Toll House, but that's okay. All right, now it says 2 cups. This is 2 cups. One of these 12-ounce bags is about 2 cups of chocolate chips. I'll measure it out for you. Okay, so here's my 1 cup measure. Here, I'm gonna add that in, and then, oops. And so there we go. So it's about 2 cups worth of chocolate chips. If you do not have, if you have one of the bigger bags, that's okay. Just put in 2 cups. That's what this recipe calls for. All right, then I'm going to slowly mix these in. So I'm gonna mix them in. Get some chocolate chips in there, and just mixed in a little bit. Okay, that's good. All right, so now I'm going to scrape off my beater. Okay, now eventually I'm gonna have to use my hands, so my hands are clean. That's all right. I'm gonna get all that good stuff off of that beater. Okay, so now we're gonna prepare our baking sheets. Any kind of baking sheet will do. Okay, I like to cover my baking sheets with parchment paper. I think it makes it easier. You can use the same 2 pieces of parchment paper throughout the whole baking. So you tear off a piece about the size that you need for your sheet. It doesn't have to cover the sheet perfectly. Just, you know, there we go. All right, now while my oven preheats, I'm going to get my cookies onto the cookie sheet. All right, now sometimes I use my teaspoon. I use a heaping teaspoon. That's a good size cookie, okay? I like this size cookie. Now you can do that, or if you're lucky, you have one of these, which is a cookie scoop. It's like a mini ice cream scoop, okay? This makes a much larger cookie, okay? It just depends on what size you want, okay? I'm gonna go with the heaping teaspoon instead of this. This is easier, but it makes a little bit bigger cookie, and I want smaller ones and a lot of them. Okay, so I'm gonna move my cookie sheet over here. Ooh, stray chocolate chip, gotta eat that one. All right, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm going to do 16 of these. My cookie sheet's quite large. Depending on your cookie sheet, you might only want to do 12. 4 rows of 3. I'm going to do 4 rows of 4 because I have that room. All right, so I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to do my 16 cookies, and then I will show you the sheet after I'm done, because you don't want to sit here and watch me do 16 cookies. I'll be right back. Hey, so I've just finished doing my cookies, getting them ready. While my oven was preheating, I put my 16 cookies on my cookie sheet, and I cleaned up my area. So I'm all set. I took the mixer bowl off the mixer. So let's take a look at my cookies. Now, you're gonna see that they are not neat. They're not perfectly round. The oven will do that. That's fine. I do have 16. This one looks like it doesn't have a chocolate chip. So I'm going to steal a chip from another one. There we go. You want them all to be about the right, same size. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of reorder them, make sure they're all in the right spot. You got 16 on mine. It's because my cookie sheet's slightly larger than a regular cookie sheet. My oven is preheated, so I'm going to put my cookies in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, so in the middle rack, right there, close it up. I'm gonna set the timer for 8 minutes, and then I'll come back and check them and see if they're ready. So my timer just went off, 8 minutes. I'm gonna check out the cookies and see how they're doing. Oh, see, now look how white those are. Those need a lot more time. Okay, so I'm gonna set it for 2 minutes and then come back and check them. Okay, so I've got my sit for 2 more minutes and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'm back. My 2-minute timer went off. So I'm going to check these cookies again. Turn the timer off. All right, so this time we got a nice little golden color to them. Good. So I'm gonna get those out. Now, I like to put mine on these kinds of trays so they cool. You get a little spatula there, take them off, cool them, and then they're ready to eat. These look beautiful and yummy. Hi. Thanks. So I just took out my last batch of cookies. Okay, that only made about a dozen on that last batch to make a total of 5 dozen, 60 cookies. There's a couple missing because they're really good when they're hot and gooey. I hope your cookies turn out just as well. Enjoy them with a nice cold glass of milk. Thanks. Bye.